Good morning, ladies in absentia, gentlemen, ladies in absentia. They will join us next time. Welcome this morning, and we are continuing with our lessons. Before I get to lesson 21, anything specific or anything you're worried about, you're not getting right in your exercises and all that? That's if you are waking.
Sometimes my microstructures for participles is tricky.
Okay.
Maybe if we could do that maybe at some time, just to get that into my aid.
Okay.
Sometimes I struggle.
Okay. If he doesn't want to, then we'll force it in. It's okay. So okay, let's do that next week. We have class next week. Or you're only writing tests. We don't have classes next week. No, Monday we meet. We said we are meeting, right? Monday we are meeting, and then Tuesday we're writing a test, right? Yes, on 19 and 20. And then Thursday we don't have class. So we will have to wait for the week of the 28th to finish off the lessons. Okay? And then the rest of about 3 or so meetings will be the exercises and so forth. All right? Okay. Lesson 21. This is not something new. Some of the words we are going to talk about here, you have met them already. You have been using them already, but then not knowing what they are and how do they conjugate or behave and so forth, more especially in the first principal part. Now, first thing first, let's look at what we have to do or achieve today, our outcomes. It always starts with the last one, but I don't want that one, I want this one. I'm introducing you to the contract verbs. In Afrikaans is die samgevoegde werkwoord. You don't have this in Afrikaans. We also don't have this in English, but then that's why we're talking Greek verbs, okay? To recognize and explain the contract verbs in Greek, or Greek contract verbs. And then we will talk about that. What are they? How do they behave? How do we conjugate them? And all that. All right? Secondly, it's the recognition and the explanation of the principal parts of contract verbs. Now, I know I've been asking you to learn all those, how to conjugate horizontally. Now I mean it. Not that I did not mean it first, but now I mean it. The 2 or 3 that you have in lesson 21, I will ask you in the test. Not on Tuesday, but when we write the test on 21 and 22. Okay? So please, I need those principal parts of the contract verbs. Okay? And then third, we're looking at the reflexive pronoun. What is a reflexive pronoun? This is basically what we'll be doing today. You know what a reflexive pronoun is. You have touched something on a reflexive... No, is that so? No. You only did the special use of autos for the intensive and what? And then identical. Yes, sorry, my mistake. So on the special use of autos, you touched something on this kind of things, not necessarily the reflexive, or the intensive, and the identical use of autos. So, but then now we want to treat also the reflexive pronoun. When something is reflexive, what do we mean by the reflexive? We will get into that. Just be thinking about that. And I will also introduce you to this commonly used adjective, pass. What does it mean? What? Entire, every, and all that, okay? You use this adjective every day, like I'm using it now, every day, okay? So, the entire day. We use this adjective every day. So, remember that entire, every, all. Then you will also learn in page 127 its uses. How is it used in Greek? Okay. Now let's roll now to the business of the day. Introduction to Greek contract verbs. What are contract verbs? Many of the verbs you have learned, or we have learned so far, have had stems ending with upsilon. Think of all the verbs we have dealt with. They were having stems ending with upsilon. I took one of these last week by mistake. Look at luo, the stem. We are not talking about the person ending. Okay? We're not talking about the person ending. We talk about the vowel in the stem. And that's what I mean by many verbs we have learned so far have had stems ending in upsilon, etc. You have examples in the book. And one, or maybe one of the mute consonants, that is a verb like aguo. A verb like pempuo, you have that p, okay, ending. It's mute, okay. It's mute. It's, what do we mean by mute? It's silent. Okay, silent. You should have just kept quiet and said this is mute. Okay, right. So that's what we mean by those. Many of the verbs we have treated so far. They are those verbs. But now we're going into something unique and different from what we have been doing. A new category of verbs consists of those whose stem end in the vowels alpha. Like, give me an example from lesson 21. The verb, sorry, I'm standing on the wrong. Agapa uo. What does it mean? I love. Look at the ending of the stem. And what did I say there? It ends in alpha, epsilon, and omicron. Okay? Another example from this could be the word zauo, and then also the word I te uo. What does it mean? I ask, or I request. Okay? And then look at the ending there. It's alpha, and then the other example where the ending is omicron, you have the word plerouo. We have it here. It just came to my mind. Yes. That word, plerouo. What does it mean? I feel, I make full, or I fulfill, okay? But then look at the endings, look at all those. These are verbs. These verbs are called contract verbs. They don't sign any contract. And then that's what we are coming into now. Why do we call them contract verbs? Anyone with an idea from your preparation? Yako, I did not say prepare now. From your preparation, what do we mean by contract verbs? Okay, that's what we are coming to. These verbs are called contract or contract verbs because when they are conjugated, look at that. When they are conjugated, the final vowel of the verb stem, I'm not talking about the person ending. You saw what the verb, the consonant is on the verb stem, right? The final vowel of the verb stem contracts with the initial vowel or diphthong of the person ending or the number. Okay? I will give you an example for that. And the result of this is a slight change in the ending of that verb. What's going on? Contraction occurs, only in the first principal part, only in the present indicative active, first person singular. The rest of the other tenses, it's business as usual, like your future, like your aorist, perfect, and so forth. Okay. So when we talk about contraction and this whole new thing we are learning about on contract verbs, it only occurs in the first principal part. Are we there? I want to show you how contractions then happen. As mentioned above, contraction only occurs in the first principal part. What typically happens in the formation of other principal parts, I'll come to that, is the lengthening of the contract vowel before the addition of the various tense suffix. I just open here so that I can have, say, an example. Let's look at that word, that verb, laleuo. Can you conjugate this in a present indicative active in your small paper there? Do it now. From your luo, lueis, luei, luomen, luete, luosin, apply this verb in doing that and see what is the difficulty there. Mukesh, you're supposed to be done by now. You're still thinking. Conjugate laleuo in the present indicative active. Yako, are you done? Yandra is laughing. What does laleuo means? Yako, tell them, what does laleuo means? Did not say open the book.
I can't say.
You can't say. What does it mean?
I speak.
You speak. Okay. Are you done? How is it? Pararai, can you tell us? Okay, then you have your first person singular there. What would the second person singular look like?
Not nice.
Eh? Let's look at it. It will be la, le, and then you put in the ace. Does it look right? But that's what it should be. Eh? And then let's go to the third person singular. La, le, what? N. Is it making sense? Okay, let's look at the other one. La, le, omen. And then la, le, ete. And then la, le, usin. What's weird about these verbs? You can see the rule that we have been applying from lesson 1 up until now was working well with luuo, grafuo, agape, theluo, ginoskuo, and all those. Because those verbs are different from contract verbs. They are the vowel ending in the stem was either upsilon or a mute consonant. But with contract verb, it's different. That's why we call these contract verbs, because when it comes here, these two consonants must contract. That's where the word contract verbs come from. The two, let me get back to, I will come back to this one. Oh, come on. Where did I put up? I want to get back to what I was saying. The verbs are called contract because when they conjugate, the final vowel of the verb stem, all right, contracts with the initial vowel of the person ending or the number ending. So those vowels that you saw there, these must contract. You see those vowels. Look at them. They must. Mutsam smelt in Afrikaans. Then we have a contraction chart in page 124. I want you to tell me then, how will they look like? Let's just apply an example of la lete. La lete. Are you there? If you look at the vertical on the right, on the left-hand side, on the vertical side, all the bold consonants, all the bold vowels, and on top, on the horizontal row, the bold vowels also. You know how to work with the line of intersection, where two lines intersect. Okay, going back to your mathematics. Look at the epsilon. The second vowel on the vertical, on your left, wherever it intercepts with the other epsilon, that's what you are looking for there. What does it give you when epsilon and epsilon meet? The A. Okay? So that is what you are going to have there. You're going to have la late, following the contraction chart. And that is your first person, your second person, plural. Okay? Let's apply that to the third person then. Wherever epsilon intercepts with the U, what do you get? The U. Okay? So therefore, in the third person plural, you are just going to have the la, lu, sin. Okay? Apply that to the verb like agapauo. See what that alpha of agapauo, agapauo. See how that alpha contracts with the rest of the person endings. And what do they give you? Okay? You don't have to memorize this contraction chart. All we need to do is you must switch on whenever we talk about contract verbs and you see there's something weird in the person ending, then you must think of, oh, this is a contract verb. Contraction may have happened. Okay? You don't have to memorize the contraction chart. But if you still have some space in your hard drive, then you can do that. I know you put in a lot of things, sometimes unnecessary stuff. Mukesh, your hard drive is full of many things. Yeah? So that's what we have under the contraction table. And that's why we call those verbs contract verbs. Okay? Those vowels contract. Is some smelling a good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, in Afrikaans. Okay. So as mentioned above, I indicated that it only occurs in the first principal part. The future, the aorist, the perfect, it's business as usual, right? Like I said, only in the first person, in the present, indicative, active, in all modes and moods. Whether it's middle, passive, it applies here. Okay? Any question? Are we going? All right. Now, what typically happens with the formation of other principal parts is the lengthening of the contract vowel before the addition of the various tense suffixes. I have an example here. Look at the verb laleuo. When it goes to the future, that vowel lengthens. Okay? But then we apply the same rule as we know it with the future, like lusuo. Okay? Another example is the omicron of plereuo. Look, it lengthens to an omega. But then the general rule of the suo, I only use the future indicative active here, but then it applies. But then this rule does not apply to some verbs. For example, a verb like kaleuo, it doesn't follow that. Look at page 125. It's that epsilon does not change. What does kaleuo means? Kaleuo. I call. You better know that we're only 3 weeks to the exam. There won't be a book to page back. Yako? Please learn. Okay. Please learn them. Know the vocabulary. Okay? It gives you a plus. It's an advantage. Going into the exam, you know your vocabulary and all that. So please, I plead with you. So that is basically what is happening on the other principal parts of the verb. That vowel lengthens. So you will be able to, I'm emphasizing and teaching you this so that you can recognize them. Remember my outcomes? Recognize, and then you will be able to do what? To explain. Of ontleerd and the verklaring, the passing and the explanation or analysis. Okay? Now let's talk let's look at the reflexive pronoun. When something is reflexive, what do we mean by that? Reflexive pronoun, refer back to the subject. If I say I, myself, what is that?
I is going back to you.
No, but that's not reflexive. If I say you, yourself, what is that? If I say God himself, is that reflexive? No, it's intensive. I'm intensifying it. Like, remember the autos. Okay? It's not reflexive. When I give an example of I, myself, then you are tempted to say it's reflexive. Nah. Okay? But then, with the reflexive pronouns, they refer back to the subject, like let's look at page 125. You have few of them also in the vocabulary, like siautu, of yourself, okay, of myself, all right, of him or herself. That is only in the genitive. But then you have the dative also. How can you apply a sentence and use a reflexive pronoun in a dative? Give me an example. Or use the accusative then. You do what to yourself? Who loves suicide here? Killing yourself softly. Oh, what else? You say? What is that?
I call myself.
Oh, he's a very good Greek student. You call yourself. Can you do that? If you begin to walk around calling your name, then we will think something is...
Something is made somehow.
Eh?
Has that been made somehow?
Yeah, the hard drive is losing its memory. Okay? But then you understand what we mean by reflexive pronoun. It's something that points back to the subject, not necessarily yourself, but the subject, okay, in that particular sentence. Okay?
Are they connected to contract verbs or can it be any verbs?
No, it can be any verb. We're just introducing them here, okay? They're just coming on the same package with the contract verb. It has nothing to do with contract verbs. They can appear with any other verb, okay? Well, by the nature of the case, they will never be the subject of a sentence or a clause. So there are no nominative forms, as you see in page 125. The forms of the first, second, and third person in page 125, let's look at them. In the first person, emautu, how would you translate that? First person? Of myself. No. Of myself is a genitive. And then the dative, for or to myself. And then dative, accusative, myself, as a direct object. No. Okay? Like when you kill yourself. In the second person, siauton. And then the dative, siautoi, okay, to or for yourself. And then the siautu, the genitive of yourself. And you also have the occurrences in the feminine and the masculine, plural and singular. All those, please, we have to learn them and know them. Okay? I will definitely ask you or test you in the test. Just look at something. In the first person and the second person, we don't have the neuter. All right? Only in the third person. You still remember the declension of eguo, first person, I, and then second person, su. Only in the third person we dealt with the neuter of autos, aftos. Ne. You remember that in lesson 8. That's when we dealt with the neuter form. Only in the third person. So the first person and the second person do not have the neuter forms. Okay? I'm reluctant on looking at that thing. It's whether it's my eyes or what.
It's all of us.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's
Are we all sick this morning? This board might be fine. It's our eyes. There's that possibility.
it only has glasses, his eyes is fine.
Eh?
It's ours.
I think the board is fine. It might be our eyes.
If you look long enough at it, it stops because your eyes get used to it.
If you look longer, then it stops.
It really works.
Just
But
focus
it's
on it.
hurting my eyes.
Yeah, when you look at it longer, then it becomes very quick. Is that so? So our eyes actually, the body is fine. It's our eyes. When you start looking at it, then it start jumping. Going slowly. The closer you look at it, then it's a bit faster. It might be the.
But now it's stopped.
Oh, we thank God for your healing, Mukesh. All right. Good. Let's get to the declension of past. This adjective that we use every time. Okay? We use this the entire day. Remember that. Past is a very common adjective in Biblical Greek. You really have to learn that it's just everywhere in the Bible. So we really have to learn it and then know how to decline it and its uses, which I want to go word for word. As for the passing or the conjugation, the declension of past is like the aorist active participle, lusas. It will follow the third declension in the masculine and neuter. But then the first it follows the first declension, that is the feminine, in the feminine, all right? That is the first declension in the feminine, okay? Let's look at it. Pas, you have then pantos, panti, panta. Sounds like you are singing a song, a very common song. Pas, pantos, panti, panta. Singing a Greek song. Huh? Jacob will love that. He loves singing. So, okay. Pantes, panton, pasin, and then pantas. The feminine forms are just like the pure alpha and the pure eta, but then they are mixed somehow. Pasa, passes, passe, then you have pasan. So it mixed that alpha n and the eta. Okay? The neuter form, I always say it will mimic or follow what the masculine form does. All right? So it goes back to the third declension. So please, I need those also, because those various forms, you will meet them in the sentences, so in the text. You have to know them, you have to pass them. You pass them just like you pass any adjective. You remember adjective will always agree in three respects with the noun it qualifies. What are those? Case, number, and gender. Okay, that is our title track in this Greek class. Case, number, and gender. If you don't know that, then you have not been in my class. Whenever you deal with nouns and adjectives, case, number, and gender, they will always agree in those respects. Now let's finish off by looking at the uses of pas in page 127. I couldn't type them because it's just a repetition of what we have in the book. Unfortunately, I spare some time for not doing that. The use of pas requires a brief comment because its syntax is so varied. Okay? When we talk about syntax, how it is used, and eventually the meaning, okay, will change. Pas occurs with singular and plural nouns, with and without the article, and in attributive, predicative, and substantive construction. Remember, we are talking about an adjective. That is something I forgot to remind you. Whenever we talk about adjectives, it's not only case, number, and gender. Okay? You talk about the possible constructions of that adjective. It could be in the attributive, could be predicative, could be a substantive. Remember something similar with participles, the adjectival use, the adverbial use, and also the substantive use. The adverbial would be in a predicative position, right? Please, I want you to sing those things. I want you to master that theory so that when you go to the text, next year we are getting into biblical Greek for real, not only these sentences. So,
Substantive, attributive, and?
What is that? The adjective, the predicative.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's look at the first use. In the very common, in the predicative position, what do we mean by predicative position? If you were to explain to me, following the rule of the definite article, how would you, please give me an example of a predicative position? Of any, you can combine any noun and any adjective and give me a predicative position. Danny? I always give those examples here. Any predicative construction?
Carlos be first and then the noun.
Or Carlos, then a noun?
Yeah.
No. Then what you will be having, Danny, is or Carlos. What is Carlos? It's your adjective. No. And then a noun. What is this kind of construction? Where an adjective is situated between the article and the noun. It's attributive. It's on the other way around, okay? But then if we are looking for a predicative, then it would be ho, Carlos, no. Give me any noun I can use. Ho, logos, Carlos. How would you translate that? The word is good, okay? That is the predicative. And then the substantive, the adjective will stand alone, the good, okay? So here we are talking about the predicative position. The word is good. That is the predicative position. Now applying the adjective panther, the rule says in the predicative position, its meaning corresponds closely to the English. Let's look at that example. Can someone read that Greek for me, Yandre? Ploia. Look at panther, where it's situated. It's outside the article and the noun. And the meaning would be, I have seen all the boats. So in that instant, you translate it as all, in the predicative position. Second example, Pararai, read that sentence.
The Greek word.
Yes.
Alasumen,
Elalesamen.
elalesamen, pros, tos, anapteptas,
Mathetas.
matetas, pandas.
Pantas. Okay? Look at pros, tus mathetas, pantas. Standing outside the article and the noun. And how are you translating it as all? The translation would be, we spoke to all the disciples. Okay? The examples can go on and on and on. But then, whenever we talk about the predicative construction of pas, then you're translating it as all. Are we there? Are you fine? Second example. In the less common, and underline that, less common. We started with the very common. So that you must master by no means. No chance. You have to know it. In the less common, the attributive position, it refers to the whole. Okay? The whole, the collective, sum of the individual parts. Let's look at the example. When we talk about attributive, remember, what are we talking about? Danny? Your article, and then the adjective, and then the noun. Or, which other possibility of the attributive? Huh? Any other possibility? Attributive? You're talking about the article, ha, and then kale, and then you can have ha, adel, fe. I'm just using the feminine. The other one would be ho, logos, ho, kalos. Or both of them must appear without ho, logos, kalos. In the first instant, both of them must appear with the article. The adjective and the noun with their own articles. And then that is the same example. The other one that you know is that ho, kalos, and then logos. Otherwise, if the adjective comes without an article, then it must be situated in between. If it's outside, like in this case, then it must have its own article. Okay? Or both of them appear without articles. It will be indefinite. A good word. not the good word. All right? Good. So this is the less common, and let's see how we translate it. We said we translate it as the whole or the collective. Mukesh, read the Greek for us. Yes. Yeah. Look at ho nomos. In between the article and the noun comes in now the adjective pas. And it's also in the nominative. I forgot to emphasize the case in the other. It will always agree in case, number, and gender with the noun it qualifies. Remember that. Okay. How do you translate that? The whole law. Okay. It's not all anymore. It's the whole law. Teaches what? The whole law teaches love. Okay? Hoi pantes mathetai prosoxanto iupertu technu. The whole body. Hoi pantes mathetas. Of disciples prayed for the child. Go with those examples. Go and please relook at them. Number 3, without the article, pas means every or each. You see, the meaning is changing. But this is the one that we use every day, right? It means every. Without what? The article. Let's look at the example. Okay, there the rule says without the article, pas means every or each with a singular noun. Where is the example? Pas logos. Pleruthe setai. Okay? Every word will be fulfilled. Let's look at another one. He hamartia eis elthen eis pantas anthropos. Sin has entered into all persons, like every person, except Pararai. He's immune to sin. I know, he doesn't sin at all. Yes.
In this example, it seems now every is no more there is the substitute by all. How can I see it now?
How can you?
How can I see now it needs to be used the word every? Because some example uses every, but now here we don't have every.
Read that first line in the rule. Without the article, pas means every or each with a singular noun. All conceivable. Okay? So it's also the possibility. Okay? We said all except you. You are immune to sin. So he doesn't sin. He's a very good man, Pararai. I know him. Okay? Good. Number 4. Pas often occurs with personal pronouns, demonstratives, and participles. Let's look at how it is translated. Pantes, humeis, ginoskete ten aletheias. You all know the truth. How does it appear there? It appears with that personal pronoun, humeis. You all, okay, know the truth. The second example, Yako, can you read the sentence for us? Point 4. Starts with Egune.
Egune, kuruse, banta, dalta.
What is the translation?
The woman is proclaiming all these things.
Yeah, the woman is proclaiming that kerusei, panta, tauta, all these things. Okay? And then the last one, Mukesh? No, Serami.
Pas ho pistion.
Pisteo, yeah.
So the same time.
Read it again.
Okay. Pas ho pistion su the same time.
Okay. Then how do you translate it?
Everyone who believes will be saved.
Yeah. Okay. Look at that pass also there without an article, and then it stands there with that, what is piston, Danny? If you pass it for us. With that one ending.
Something about Amy.
No. Piston. With that one ending. Anyone wants to help? It is a participle, a present participle. That's what the rule is saying here. In past often occurs with personal pronouns, demonstratives, and participles. So learn that also. Go and look at the fifth point. Past is often used as a substantive, both with and without the article. Eipon, ho didaskalos autois ta panta, and parabolize. The teacher told them all things, ta panta, all things in parables. Again, that pantes, ethaumasan, epitois, semeos, everyone marveled at the signs. Everyone, pantes. But then these, you can only master them. First master the declensions, and then you will go to the uses and see how it differs as it appears in various texts. Okay? I think that's all for today. That thing decided to do its own.
If you pass the noun thing, will you use the dictionary word for every or each, or can you use all when you pass?
When you pass,
Yeah.
which noun?
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pass is not a noun, it's an adjective. Okay? Yes. You use the dictionary form, which is pass. So let's say I underline pantes. Then you will tell me it's an adjective, all right? And then it's nominative, masculine, plural, of what? Of pass, meaning every, or, and then you explain it to me. You explain the uses there according to the 5 rules that we have. When is pass here used with a verb, with a participle, it means this. Pass is used here in a attributive, it means that. Pass here, it's used in a predicative, it means every, and so forth. Okay? Are we go okay with that? Monday. Yako, sentence 1 and 2. Practice and review. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, Mukesh, 7, 8. We do everything. 9, you say? You must listen, Mukesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, Sirami. 9, 10, Pararai. 11, 12. Dani. Let's go to the the LXX. Sentence 2, Yako. Actually, all of you must just do this. Okay? Sentence 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and 6. 2, 3, 4, and 6. New Testament sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of us must just do that.
The test is about lesson
19 and 20. Next week, Tuesday, during the class period. Or we first meet and then lunch, then you write. Okay, so let's use the class then, next week, Tuesday. Thank you so much.